show number 500 of hashtag GTV Breakfast. We've done a lot of weeks, 100 weeks. So hip, hip, hooray to all of us. Still to come, conversations with MJ, the comedian, Ghana-Japan relations, arigato, which means thank you in Japanese. A conversation on disabilities. We've got the current affairs headlines at 7:30. We've got social media corner with Jay and Val. We've got sports at 7. And for now, we're going to talk about something that scares the bejesus out of people who are working. I have a friend who, anytime I talk about ChatGPT and AI, I say, Charlie, no, Charlie, this thing, no, this thing, they can't take away my jobs. You know, he's telling me about how he does voiceovers, and he came home one day and he claims that a voiceover that should have come to people like him was outsourced to some bot, some AI app, and it did everything, and he's thinking that, Charlie, I'm out of a job. So today we're going to look at AI and the job market, artificial intelligence, what it's all about. Should you be frightened like my friend, or should you have other ways of dealing with what is a reality today? So in case you didn't know, artificial intelligence is offering opportunities for businesses to enhance their productivity, to boost innovation and create new jobs. But there are issues of job displacement and reskilling. What are the big issues around the future of job security for human beings? Are the robots taking over? My guest is an IT expert and a leading AI consultant, Mr. Philip Game. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Kafi.
Should my friend be reasonably scared of AI?
He should. He has some concerns, but he shouldn't be scared if you prepare. You would have to always be ahead of the technology curve anytime there's a revolution. So the discussion we should be having is, how do I move ahead? How do I join the wave and make sure I stay ahead of the curve? And that's the kind of conversations we need to have. When AI intersects the job market, the reality is, will there be job losses? Yes. And how do we prevent the job losses? If I like your intro earlier on when we're going to announce this, we would have to make sure that we develop more of the interpersonal skills, the leadership skills, the empathy, emotional capabilities, and then we have to find a way of building use cases where AI powers our work. What I've been telling corporations for the past few months is that you must have human-centered solutions that are tech-powered. In that way, you do not, talk about job losses. You talk about upskilling and retraining your workforce and yourself so that you remain relevant in the job market.
Awesome. Let's back a bit, and let's just have a little definition of what AI, artificial intelligence, is all about, and why people in the job market should be concerned.
Artificial intelligence really is a very broad spectrum. It cuts across everything from healthcare to transportation, and then anything you can just imagine. And it's a broad space. The fear for job losses has never been a concern until generative AI came to the forefront. It's been over 60 years in the making. If you look at the labs of AI around the world, most of them have existed for almost like decades, like 60 years, 70 years. But then generative AI, which is artificial intelligence capability to generate original content from text, images, voice, like you mentioned, your friends, audio, visuals, and all that, is something that just started, I believe, around mostly last year. If you look at within a week of its launch, you had 1 million users, something that never existed before. You had several technologies. Instagram took 2.5 months. You had Facebook taking more than 24 months. So you had to get to a million users. And then you had ChatGPT come to the fore. And then within a week, you had 1 million users, something that had never happened before. Google CEO called it an innovation that is more powerful than fire, the invention of fire to cook and electricity. So this is something that is real. You have computers trained to think like human beings and to generate content. There are biases, there are issues here and there, but in no time, like your friend rightly says, the thinking is so prompt and so fast that if you are not careful, your work is threatened. We can talk about the likes of COVID. During the time of COVID, we had everybody trying to create vaccines. I always give the example of Moderna. On 11th January, the Chinese doctors had released the genome sequencing of the virus. They had seen the mutations, and when they published it online, by 24th February, which was like barely 44 days, you had Moderna ready with trials to NIH. And by the end of the year, you had their trials approved by the US FDA, ready for the market. And Moderna had a virus, a vaccine for the virus, and it was replicated across other companies.
Less than a year.
And this was a tech company, a fully digitized company led by a software engineer, Stefan Bancel. They found how to create the mRNA synthetic vaccines, put them in envelopes like fatty substances, nanolipid proteins, and then these guys introduce the molecules through an injection. It goes into the human system. The ribosomes create the proteins and tell the body how to create the proteins to fight the COVID virus.
And this was tech and AI working?
This was tech and AI, purely tech and AI. In the past, how long did it take?
That taken, yes.
That's a decade, 10 years, minimum.
So 10 years has been collapsed to less than a year.
And in a month, they were able to create 1,000 molecules on the trials to find the best option to fight the virus. In the past, in 30 months, with a lot of scientists, a lot of payment and all that, you are going to be creating 30 molecules for trials. And so this is a big revolution. And the question must be, how do we take advantage of this? How do we harness this so that you are not extinct in no time?
Let's bring it home to Ghana. Say, for example, what are the ways that AI can help a broadcasting company like GBC?
3 things. Every company and individuals can use the same strategy, but you bring it to yourself, okay? So the companies must do what we call the 3 Ps. When we come into your company, we basically teach you to set ambitious goals. So the company creates what we call the potential. So we have the potential, the people, and the processes. In the potential, you ask yourself, what can I do? You basically attack 4 things that has always affected productivity and performance in the workplace. The 4 Ds. What is dirty, what is dull, what is dangerous, and what is difficult.
Dirty, dull, dangerous, difficult.
And difficult.
Let's go through
those
the
dirty
jobs.
Okay, so you've got some jobs that are mundane. Mm-hmm. They make your routines, they slow you down. You don't want to do this task. They could be repetitive tasks, mm-hmm. or it comes to decision making, mm-hmm. like Moderna did. They were trying to do sequencing. They got a system to do the thinking. So you're basically going to introduce prompts to be able to generate this text so that your work is not, you're not going to have to do a lot of drafting with pens, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. You have a template ready. Not the normal lorem ipsum template, mm-hmm. but you have templates ready for you to edit as an inspiration for you to, serve your boss with something great. Mm-hmm. So basically what it means is when the company sets these potentials, their broad spectrum of things that you could do, you look in finance, you look in HR, you look in the programming and all that. When you've agreed that these are the specific areas you can play the game, you build your use cases and now you move to the people. Before you begin to train your people to be able to be AI capable in order to leverage this technology. Then the last one is the processes. The companies must build policies that serve as the guardrails so that you avoid all liabilities with infringing on copyright and all that. There must be rules so that you put some human at the center of all this content you generate. And then you're not going to have to leave this to what AI presents. AI is just going to present it like a template. You need a human beings to be able to make sense of it and tweak it for the use of the company. And that's the kind of conversations companies should be having. The potential, what are the ambitions? You set ambitious goals because you want to be very competitive. And then you get your people ready. And the last phase is to set the policies and the guardrails to make sure that things are working very well.
Let's bring it to the individual, the micro level. Let's imagine that I'm a graphic designer.
Good.
How can I use AI to help me in my work?
Good. So basically what you are going to do is to look at your weaknesses and your strengths. In doing creative work, the first thing you do is to establish your briefs, your creative briefs. You don't want AI to do that for you. You want to be able to understand the unique requirement of your client or the situation. After you've been able to develop all this, you can sequence them into models where you create the prompts to be able to serve as the inspiration.
The prompt is an instruction.
The prompt is basically the instruction you feed into the notebook or the system to be able to generate the response. So you would have to do this based on the proper brief that you've had. You don't want to give one thing generative AI does, and that's the space the conversation is around.
ChatGPT.
Yes, generative AI, like the ChatGPT. So what it means is you would have to be able to make sure you don't give AI too much room to hallucinate.
Okay.
So what that means is you need to control it. You need to tell it what you don't want included in the result, what you want included.
So you have to be specific.
You have to be specific. You have to even tell AI how to think. You have to tell AI as the general manager.
Okay.
You'd have to think like this. So those trainings are key. You'd have to try a couple of times to get used to it, over time. And I believe Ghana has an opportunity to be at the next wave of workforce in this technological revolution, because it's still new, it's still exciting, and generative AI is still trying to find its footing. So there's a lot of opportunities out there if corporate Ghana, and for that matter, individuals, can really understand the buzz and the trend and be able to, leverage on this growing technology.
Philip, I've also read a lot of horror stories, so far not here, but from other parts of the world, where all of a sudden, within 2 months, copywriters were out of a job, graphic designers were out of a job, and now the company that they were working with was using ChatGPT to do their work. Give us a sense of what disruptions have occurred in the job market before we talk about opportunities.
Imagine thousands, and I like the word you just used, disruption. It's real. It's going to happen. And I believe you are making reference to the strike action in the US, where the copywriters and everybody, the content creators, went on strike.
Copywriters, yes.
Their job, they thought the job would never be affected, and it was affected. The speed with which AI delivers is something you don't want to pretend AI is not going to affect. You want to be ahead, and you want to be more prompt, and you want to be more ready and prepared. So basically, take the example of Netflix. There was the need to have the silver beds and to have all the shows in the National Theatre and all that. But now there's no need for that.
No.
Because Netflix is right on your phone, and then you have your silver bed here. You could have it connected to your TV and all that. So basically, the kind of challenge that AI presents is something that has been ongoing for decades. Society must immediately have a conversation around what is ethical within the environment or the space. Ghana can say, we don't want AI playing in the healthcare space. Let's have a conversation around what you would do if you have the option of allowing a human surgeon to perform an operation on you, or you'd rather a robot that has 99% accuracy. What would you want?
I'm going for that robot, man.
Good. So that means, is this ethical for the doctors? It's going to affect doctors.
It can collaborate with a human being.
Good. AI, therefore, is coming at every industry, is coming at every profession. And it's society, stakeholders, government, citizens, technologists, everybody must come together. And then we discuss what is ethical, what is not ethical. We want transparency in algorithms, and to make sure we are doing something that society agrees with. That's the kind of conversations we need to have.
Awesome. You're watching #GTV Breakfast, our 500th show since we started on the 2nd of August 2021. And we are talking about a very topical issue, AI, and how it affects you if you are in the job market or you are about to enter the job market. If you have any questions, send them to us on 055-556-1034. Philip Game is helping us to unpack the issues, the opportunities, the threats that AI poses, and how you can stay ahead of the wave. I hear new jobs are being created. There are new jobs. I've been reading about prompt engineering being a whole new job on its own. The ability to ask the right questions for the AI to deliver exactly what you want. And these jobs didn't exist a year ago.
Absolutely. Like I said, anytime a new technology is introduced, it creates a new wave of jobs. So we are looking at tech guys, software guys, now going into the space of biopharma, like in the case of Stefan Bancel, who led Moderna, create that. And you have so many such developments around us. And in no time, we'll be talking about people that have the requisite skills to be able to help companies stay ahead of the competitive curve. And this would mean people that are not limited to robotic for engineering. It's not going to be a robot really replacing you.
Yeah.
It's going to be your lack of skills getting you out. You must know how to be able to leverage these things. And so to make yourself relevant, you need to see AI as a colleague, junior or senior level colleague, depending on your role, and find out how you can engage them so that you coexist. It must be a more collaborative venture.
I read something that it is not, it's not AI that's going to replace you. It's the person who knows how to use the AI that will replace you.
Absolutely, and that's what I was coming to. Yes, I love that in your introduction piece. If you make yourself AI ready, then you are going to love your job, because the dirty, dull, difficult, dangerous part of your work can be eliminated. All those repetitive tasks can be gone. And then you spend yourself doing things that has the human at the center, the mission, the vision, the purpose, the why you are working. And behind all powerful hows, there's a why. So you must know why the prompt, why I need this, and all of that. You start with a why, and that's always a human venture. Yes.
Give us some examples of how companies in Ghana are adopting AI technologies without even naming them. Just give us, if you know of any examples that would be instructive.
There are very interesting things going on already in web and software. For example, there's an artificial generative AI lab we just set up. We are still testing. We're having discussions with the NITA, the National Institute of Technology Agency. So we're having a conversation around them to see if we could build sandboxes for companies to start experimentation.
What's a sandbox?
Like a dummy studio, so that people are able to test it. It's like a simulation, contextual environment.
So they can play around with
stuff. They can play around with stuff and see how it works, how to buy from GitHub a model, put it in a notebook. Companies must pre-train their data for specific things. We have so many companies asking us to build use cases. We have like 2 banks we are working with currently, building use cases on how they could leverage AI for a number of things.
So those chatbots that you see on some of these bank applications, is that AI doing that, responding to you?
Certainly AI. You have AI in your Google Map already. You have AI all around us. Yes. But then when we talk about generative AI, it really goes beyond this. In the insurance industry, I'm having a conversation with a company around processing claims faster and weeding fraud out, so that you take all the human elements out, and then you save a lot of money. Lemonade is doing it outside Ghana, and that's a beautiful example. So the company, hitherto, if you were going to take a loan, you'd have to walk into a bank, you'd have to make an application, you would have to be checked for your creditworthiness, your house location. With a phone, you could go to maybe MTN, Momo, and make a loan request and get your money without any human intervention. They do your credit score, they do everything, and then they give you the loan with an interest and everything. I know a lot of the conversations around the banks have been how their processes and reporting were structured. But really, technology also played a part, because you had the tech companies now becoming more friendly banks than the traditional banks.
Exactly.
And all these things are AI powered already. Yes. Only this time, the tools are not in the hand of the giants like the MTNs and the Vodafones. You, the individual, with generative AI, you could even go for an application. For an enterprise level, that's the notebooks like Google Colab, and then they put in the models to pre-train for specifics. But you, the individual, can subscribe to an application, and then you begin to use it like the ChatGPT. And that's really making a wave. And the kind of conversations our leaders must have is not to promise the big traditional jobs like manufacturing and all those things. We must start to have a conversation about the new wave of jobs, looking at where the world is headed. What kind of skills do we need to be competitive in 5 years? We need to prepare people for that in genome sequencing than doing the traditional pharmacy the way it's done. We must start teaching people how to study cells, and how to do the genome sequencing to identify cures to malaria and all kind of things.
So AI in medicine, AI in banking, AI in everything.
AI, everything. Human resource management and AI. Where they intersect is very important.
Is it
That's
dangerous?
the conversations.
Yeah. Is it because I'm reading also of the fears that the robots are going to take over. What will happen one day if some AI bot hits some nuclear code and then all of a sudden World War IV, not even World War III?
I read about the invention of the calculator. The first time it was invented, we had the same conversation. That's years ago. I wasn't there. But then the conversation around it was, well, we've invented a machine that we no longer need to do the normal calculation of 1 + 1. Now a machine does it. We won't think again. But here we are, and the calculator is a tool. So it's when you don't know how to use the calculator and you've been told calculator is allowed, and now your colleague is using it to answer the questions faster in the exams room, and you are sitting down in disadvantage. That's where the thing is. So AI can be dangerous. It can be also an enabler. It can be very useful. It depends on your preparedness to utilize it. And the utilization depends on your skills training, your aptness, and ability to adapt to whatever use cases that your industry require.
Philip, let's bring it home, and hopefully you can offer some hope for my friend who is a voiceover artist. He does radio commercials, and he is worried that AI is going to take his job because there are some applications that can turn text into voice. They can turn voice into text. They can write copy for him. And what should he be doing?
Okay, so the first thing he should do is to learn immediately how to play around these tools and get conversant with it. You don't even need to be a lady. You could speak and literally just click a button, and then it takes your voice from male to female. It can make you an old man and a young woman. You can talk like a baby. You can talk like a cartoon character. So basically what it means is we are confronted by all these needs for a long time, and now we have the tool. How do we leverage this? It opens up the market space when you look at the possibilities. So instead of running away from the fear of a takeover of your job, look at the possibilities that AI enables. It makes things easy. Education can go into the nuanced villages where we cannot access currently. You could just put a little satellite over the mast and then enable people with electricity powered tablets and devices, and then they're able to join classrooms. You don't have to be in Presec Legon. You can be in your village somewhere and you are streaming a science class. And so AI basically equalizes. It makes you the voiceover guy who didn't know how to use certain effects and who would have to buy hitherto some devices to be able to do those voice alterations and adjustments, to just tap a button or download your app, and then you have the images or you have the voiceover done. You have to think about what is possible and what cannot be possible without it. That's the kind of conversation he must be having.
That's awesome. I'm sure he's smiling if he's watching this show right now. How do people get in touch with you, Philip, as we wrap up this conversation?
Okay, one way is to call us at Web and Software. You could reach us on 0244 897 127, 0244 897 127, or look us up on the internet, webandsoftware.com. We are doing something wonderful. We are collaborating with the universities, with IES, to be able to come up with artificial intelligence training so that people can use it as a tool, as their colleague. It's a human AI collaboration. Let the intersection begin, and let's empower Ghanaians for more productive, high performance working.
More power to you, Philip. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And this conversation, you can find it right there on Facebook. Look for GTV Ghana, and you'll find this conversation on AI and the job market. Philip Gavin is with Web and Software, is an IT expert and leading AI consultant, and now you know what the intersection between AI and the job market is. Still to come on today's show, we've got sports coming up with Multiti at 7 o'clock. The social media corner is bubbling, it's hot, it's vibrant, it's sizzling. Jay and Val will give you all the juice, all the scoop at 7:15. Sit down with the ladies. It's me and the ladies for the current affairs and the headline news. We've got conversations on disabilities, conversations on Ghana-Japan relations. Let me speak my only Japanese. Arigato. Thank you. And then we have comedy with MJ, the comedian. Shout outs to AQ Handy for the snazzy jacket. I must say so myself, even if you won't say it. Yeah, say it. It's snazzy. And AQ Handy made it happen with the beautiful fabrics. Our WhatsApp number is 055-556-1034. Hashtag GTV Breakfast across all social media handles. And we are using AI like nobody's business right here. We want to ride the wave, ride the wave. That's what it's all about. Stick around, don't go anywhere. This is hashtag GTV Breakfast, episode number 500.